In the last video, we talked about kind of the overall how the class would function. Here, I want to talk about how grades will work, because it'll be a little bit different than you might be used to if you haven't had a class with me, but we're working off of a grading contract in this class. So if you're unsure or if you're in doubt, please ask questions. It's new for you potentially, and I'm happy to clarify and work through and make sure that we're all on the same page. So the big question is why? Why are we doing something different than just giving tests and assignments, scoring them, and then throwing numbers into Sycamore and seeing what pops out? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, percentage grades are usually unclear. The example I like to kind of fall back on is what makes an 89 different from a 90? Why are those two students different? Why is, our cutoff point there? And it's usually unclear to see like, well, what would I need to have done to do a little bit better? Or what did I do so that I didn't end up a little lower, a little worse? So to kind of combat that, this contract makes the expectations clear once we kind of talk through it and make sense of it. This helps you, in turn, this helps you to know what you need to do to improve your grade. As you'll see in a minute here, it'll be really clear of here's what I've done, here's what's needed for the next grade, so if I want to move up to there, here's the steps I need to take. This will also in turn help you prioritize your time. If you're already at a certain threshold that you're happy with, you're meeting requirements for a B in a given category, then and you want to earn a B, and you don't need to work on that category at this time. Instead, work on maybe where you're only meeting a C or not meeting a C. And then as time goes on, maybe you get everything to a B and you decide, oh, I want to work towards an A. Same thing. You can look at the places that you're not meeting those requirements, prioritize that. And then finally, this frames work and grading as agreement. It basically says that you and I are on the same page of what's expected from the class going into the semester or into the year. And then once we've got that, we know where we're going and what we're aiming for. So with that, on the next slide, I'm going to show you kind of for your specific class what the grading contract looks like and talk through each of the categories a bit, and then we'll, of course, talk more about them in class together. So this is the grading contract here for the physics class, and so you can see across the top we've got, let me pull up my highlighter here. So across the top we've got the different grades, so you can earn a C, you can earn a B, or you can earn an A in this class. There's, generally speaking, no pluses or minuses, just C, B, A, or F. So in that, we're going to have some quizzes. We'll talk about these a bit more, but basically, in order to earn a C, I want to see that your quiz averages are at least a C. So when you get all those quizzes back, we'll look at them all, and if they're, on average a C or better, you're meeting the requirement. With that, I don't want you to have more than 2 quizzes lower than a C, so you can't get a bunch of A's and a bunch of F's and say, well, that averages out to a C. We want to see that you're generally meeting that bar. And then finally, on the final or the midterm at the end of the semester, I want to see that you get at least a D. The final we're looking at as confirming kind of what we're already assuming about your grade, so there's a little bit of wiggle room there. The star here is because, generally speaking, on a quiz or on a grade in the class, it's just going to be A, C, or F, but there is space on a final for not quite getting to a C, but not quite failing either. So that's where we'll have the one place you can get a D is on the final to meet these requirements. For a B, we want to see similarly an average quiz grade of at least a B, and then you can have no more than 1 quiz below a C, and then for the final we want to see about a C or higher. And then for an A, At this point, it should kind of make sense. Similar pattern, at least a B+ average on the quizzes, so there's a little wiggle room there. But I don't want to see any quizzes below a C, and then the final should be a B or higher. With these quizzes, we'll talk more about them in class. There are opportunities for retakes, there are opportunities to revisit them, but this kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. When we come to mastery checks for those lessons that I described in the last video, for a C, I want to see you have 65% of them done, and all the must-dos need to be complete. So if you're missing a must-do, you won't meet requirements for passing. Similarly, for a B, we're looking at 75% or more, and for an A, 85% or more. And throughout the semester, it'll be pretty easy for you to track what percentage you have done, because we'll do some things together to help you see that count of where you're at. I will be asking people to work on a project this semester if you want to get a B or an A. If you're happy with a C, or if that's where you're at, you wouldn't need to complete a project. It's the same type of project. It is largely self-driven. Same type of project for a B as for an A. It's just if you're wanting to work towards an A, I'd like you to also share that with the class. Finally, there's evidence of work. We'll talk about this in detail in the room together, answer your questions, but basically for this, we'll be having reflection discussions, which is where you take some of your work, you think about it, you jot some notes down on it, and then bring it to me and we talk about it and kind of have a conversation about what you've learned, how things are going, etc. So for a C, I'd want to see 2 of those happen. For a B, 4 of those to happen. And for an A, 6 of those to happen. All of this is across the entire semester. And we're looking at, again, from now until January, completing all of this. We'll talk about more questions that you might have in class, but otherwise, that's kind of an overview of what to expect on the grading contract. You can also read the extended document that's available on Google Classroom.